Earlier this month, a lot of us were tuned into the 2023 annual Worldwide Developer Conference where Apple took the wraps off of the Vision Pro, its long-rumored augmented reality headset. The Vision Pro is one of Apple's most ambitious products to date, years in the making, and packed with technology that just might warrant that sky-high price tag. But there was so much more to this month's announcement other than the hardware. Alongside the Vision Pro, Apple debuted an entirely new operating system, Vision OS, and a slew of apps that'll be available on the operating system and by extension, the Vision Pro at launch. What's going on, everybody? Good evening. You are listening to another episode of the Black Man Into the Wild podcast. You know I'm blessed to be here with you all tonight, and as always, I'm blessed to have you here with me as well. The Black Man Into the Wild podcast was born in the Pacific Northwest and covers topics centered around the most disruptive technological advancements that'll play a role in reshaping our society for the next decades. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Apple. Welcome to the era of spatial computing. Quietly, Apple recently acquired Mira, a startup building lightweight AR hardware founded by entrepreneur Ben Taft in 2016 and based in Los Angeles. Mira has been making AR headsets for customers, including Universal Studios for attractions at its Nintendo World theme parks. Investors including Blue Bear Capital, Happiness Ventures, and Sequoia poured $17 million into the startup prior to the acquisition, betting big on its heads-up displays and software to create AR apps, games, and experiences. Not so quietly, Apple unveiled their Vision Pro AR and VR headset this month, its first major new product in nearly a decade. Since our last episode, the United States has approved human testing of Neuralink's long-awaited brain implants. Of course, we're going to get into that too. And then now that we're less than a year away from the next Bitcoin halving, let's see how people might be using AI and ChatGPT to try and predict the price of the top crypto by not only the end of this year, but after the halving in 2024 too. But before we get started tonight, as always, if you have not already, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel, like the video, and share with your friends if you like what you hear. Also, you can listen and download each episode of the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're streaming right now on all major digital streaming platforms, including Amazon Audible and the iHeartRadio Podcast Network. I appreciate your support. Let's get into these stories. The first thing you're going to notice about the Vision Pro, and this is coming from TechCrunch, is the chassis, which evokes a pair of high-end ski goggles. A tinted continuous front panel wraps around the wearer's eyes, acting as a lens and concealing a fan that draws air through the headset to cool the electronics inside. Around the back of the Vision Pro, there's a band that can be easily swapped out and a dial for adjusting the tightness of the headset. Unlike some AR headsets on the market, the Vision Pro's battery pack isn't built into the device itself. A wire running from the rear connects to a battery pack, which provides up to 2 hours of use, or Vision Pro wearers can plug into the wall for an extended experience. Infrared cameras inside of the Vision Pro track your eyes, while downward-facing cameras on the exterior of the chassis track hands. A third set of sensors, LiDAR sensors, sense objects around the Vision Pro in real time, tracking their positions. All of the Vision Pro's sensors, 23 in total, including a dozen cameras and 6 microphones, feed into the R1, a new Apple-originated chip designed to eliminate lag and stream images to the headset's display, quote, 8 times faster than the blink of an eye. The R1 also enables eyesight, a feature of the Vision Pro that projects a live feed of the wearer's eyes to the aforementioned external display. It has the effect of making the headset look transparent, at least in the pre-recorded videos that we've seen, but the jury's still out on how well it'll work in practice, of course. The software powering the Vision Pro is Vision OS, which Apple describes as, quote, the first operating system designed from the ground up for spatial computing. Spatial computing being Apple's phrase of choice for AR and virtual reality experiences. At the architecture level, Vision OS shares blocks in common with Mac OS and iOS, but adds a real-time subsystem for processing interactive visuals on the Vision Pro. The three-dimensional interface of the Vision OS frees apps from the boundaries of a traditional display so that they can appear side by side at different scales. The user interface responds dynamically to natural light, casting shadows to help communicate scale and distance. Now, when the product officially launches, Vision OS will feature apps including Unity apps, which run natively on the Vision Pro. You'll get those apps and more from a brand new app store, which is launching simultaneously with the Vision Pro. And beyond apps, according to Apple, over 100 Apple Arcade titles will be available to play on the Vision OS on day one. Next, the US approves testing of Neuralink brain implants in humans. Now, the American technology company Neuralink has received U.S. government approval to test its brain implant device in humans. The approval came from the Food and Drug Administration. Neuralink says the FDA's approval will permit the company to expand its current testing program involving animals. The coin-sized device is designed to be placed inside of the skull with small wires connecting it directly to the brain. The implant contains a small computer that's built to communicate with the brain, allowing it to control operations in the body. Now, Reuters has reported on some of the company's animal experiments in the past. In one 2021 case, the company implanted 25 out of 60 pigs in a trial with the wrong size devices. All of those pigs were later killed. Some Neuralink employees told Reuters just last year that the company had made mistakes in their animal operations, saying the mistakes came because the process was hurried, leading to more animal deaths than necessary. Now, Reuters said it reached out to both Neuralink and Elon Musk for comments on its reports. However, neither answered the request for comments. Neuralink has said the technology is designed to treat brain disorders and help spinal cord injury victims regain body movement. It might also be able to help blind people see again. And Musk has said that he believes the device could also be used to improve intelligence to help humans keep up with supercomputers and artificial intelligence technology. And speaking of AI, apparently people have been asking ChatGPT what the price of Bitcoin will be by the end of the year. Here, let's take a look at this story from CryptoPotato.com. ChatGPT predicts what will happen with Bitcoin's price during and after the 2024 Bitcoin halving. It says here, the Bitcoin network is scheduled to undertake its fourth halving in less than a year, and the speculations on whether it will have an impact on the asset's price have already begun. Upon creating the Bitcoin network, Satoshi Nakamoto incorporated an event happening at every 210,000 blocks, or around every 4 years. That essentially guarantees that the annual supply of Bitcoin will be slashed in half. The first halving reduced the block rewards from 50 Bitcoin to 25, the second 25 to 12.5, and the third drove them down to the current 6.25. This means that the cryptocurrency's current inflation levels are under 2%. And will go further down as the rewards will be 3.125 Bitcoin after the 2024 halving. Although there are more than 19 million Bitcoin mined already out of the total 21 million supply ever to exist, the halvings make it so that the last Bitcoin mined will be after more than 100 years from now. Basic rules of economics dictate that if the supply of an asset declines while the demand remains the same or increases, its price should, at least in theory, rise. Consequently, we decided to ask ChatGPT for its take on the matter, given its significance. The highly popular AI chatbot was relatively careful in its wording, responding that it doesn't have, quote, access to real-time data or the ability to predict future events such as Bitcoin's price. It further noted that Bitcoin's price is impacted by several factors, including market demand, investor sentiment, adoption rates, regulatory developments, technological advancements, and macroeconomic conditions. Nevertheless, ChatGPT admitted that Bitcoin's price has shown both increases and decreases surrounding halving events, and added, quote, during the halving, the block reward for miners is reduced, which can impact the supply dynamics of Bitcoin. The reduction in supply, coupled with continued demand or increased market interest, has the potential to contribute to upward price movements. However, the AI chatbot also warned that it's important to note that past performance is not indicative of future results. Now, thanks for listening, everybody. This has been, of course, another episode of the Black Man Into the Wild podcast. Have a great night.